I mean, I almost just want to cry. I'm just exhausted. This is Qesankh with another video for you. In this video, we're going to be talking about Netflix's Black Cleopatra, and Carolyn Bryant dies at 88. I mean, I really don't know what to say. I've said this for years. For years. As a young, intuitive child, I grew up knowing certain things. And one of those things was Black people, African Americans, ADOS, FBA. There's something seriously wrong with you. There is something seriously wrong with you that you cannot lay blame to slavery on. I have said it since high school, since college, since going into the workforce, that Black people are dysfunctional, that Black people have a self-destructive mechanism, and that we need to get help. What am I talking about? I want you to look at this. Because I can't anymore. I can't. Emmett Till's accuser, Carolyn Bryant Dunham, dies at 88 from cancer. For those who don't know, and I should not have to educate you on this, she was responsible for the death of this young man, Emmett Till. The brutal abduction and murder of a 14-year-old African-American in Mississippi on August 28, 1955, galvanized the emerging Civil Rights Act movement. Martin Luther King Jr. called his murder one of the most brutal and inhumane crimes of the 20th century. Look at this. Look at this. Please look at this. Look at this old and frail woman. Carolyn Bryant, the woman responsible for the murder of the 14-year-old Emmett Till, has died. But contrary to what people may think, her death does not bring peace to those who still mourn for him, because it doesn't change the fact that he never got the justice he deserves. You see, the family went to the federal government to petition them to arrest Carolyn Bryant and put her on trial. The federal government said no. Meanwhile, they're pursuing every Nazi war criminal, no matter what the age, 99, 102. This young man here had an open casket, and you would not believe the way he looked. They pulled his body from a lake, his entire body swollen from the water. He was beaten by Carolyn Bryant's husband and a white mob, taken from his home, all because she claimed he whistled at her. He just whistled at her. Look at this. Look at this woman. And in secrecy, she admitted that she lied. But the gentleman who was writing a book and who she confided in never recorded it. So it can't be used as testimony. It's only hearsay. What's wrong with you, Black people? This is not the way. This is not the way. You see, you use God as a coping mechanism to say, oh, God will invoke justice. We're your God. And you know what you people do? I forgive you. I forgive. I forgive. I forgive. White supremacist bursts into a church and shoots up everybody in the church. The body's laying there in blood, and he's being escorted out in handcuffs. And what does the congregation say to him? We forgive you. Black people, you are dysfunctional and you're out of alignment with God. Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is? This is Harukuhuti, warrior, God of justice. When you get out of line, he pays a visit to you. And he's not there to talk, he's there to shed blood. This woman, Carolyn Bryant, lived a comfortable life until 88 years, and no one addressed this issue of the death she caused. George Zimmerman is walking around signing Skittles for white supremacists, and no one has addressed him. I am so disgusted with Black men in particular. Black men have failed. You see, it's so easy for you to go shoot up one another in Chicago or New York or LA and kill each other, but you're terrified of an 88-year-old woman. You know, I think it was Gotti who had a neighbor. This neighbor was backing out of his driveway and accidentally hit Gotti's daughter and killed her. Next day, they couldn't find the neighbor. He disappeared, and he never found the neighbor, never found his body. You do something to a Muslim, a Jew, an Italian, and watch retribution happen. You do something to Black people and we forgive, we forgive. And again, I'm going to stress this to Black men who have failed the Black community. I said it years ago that when Black men come together, I remember this time in particular, we were supposed to come together and talk about a business that we're going to start. And the entire meeting ended up talking about sports and rap. You are freaking disgusting. You are freaking pathetic. Oh, we'll want to know what Cardi B is doing. Lil Nas X is doing. Nicki Minaj. Lizzo. What's going on with basketball? Do you understand the reason that you don't get justice from the federal government? It's because they don't want you here in the next 50 years. They have a plan to eliminate you. They have a plan to eliminate you. And all we're doing is helping them by killing each other. You are not a man if you can't stand up and protect your family. You go, and if I had a son or daughter, and harm them, harm my son or daughter, you'll be living on borrowed time at that point, because there's no doubt I would get you. There is no doubt I would get you, either by magic or by physical means. You harm my family, you will not die at the age of 88. Because Haruka Huti says there is a time for war. You Black people are not ready to be free. You don't deserve freedom because you're not willing to fight and die for it, because you're too programmed. The program is hardcore. Every other group knows the truth of the matter is that freedom comes at a cost. Give me liberty or give me death. You people do nothing. You people do nothing. I've told you before that rap, hip hop, sports are created for diversion, to divert your attention away from your liberation and freedom, to divert your attention from fighting. And it has been successful. You are not fighting. You are clowns. If you die, let me explain something. There's these preachers and ministers who come out there and tell you that because we're right, God will fight for us. No, that's not true. If you do not stand up and fight for your freedom and fight for your very existence, there is nothing that says, no matter what, you're going to be here. No. Your genes, your genetic gene will be eliminated from the face of this planet because you were not strong enough, smart enough to stand up and defend yourself. Adaptation, that determines whose genes will live on. The best adept, not evolution, the best adapted to the environment. And we have not adapted. We have allowed this sick, psychopathic man in control to divert our attention and to make us into cowards. Why did Carolyn Bryant live to the age of 88? To hell with petitioning the government for justice. To hell with that. What is wrong with you? And then you go and you kill your own brothers over stepping on your sneakers. Going out there buying Jordans, buying Shanes, buying Gucci. You are retarded. You don't deserve to be on this planet. This generation is a freaking joke. This generation of Black men are a freaking joke. I was in special military ops. And the first thing that we learned, well, there's actually two things we learned, the most important things. Number one, you back your brother up. You back your brother up. You hold the line. As Tom Cruise said in Top Gun, you don't leave your wingman. The other lesson we learned, no matter how many are left in the platoon, 3, you finish the damn mission. You finish the damn mission. Oh, and one last thing. Your gun, the magazine, if you're taken out, they better find that magazine empty. You know what that means? When they find you dead and the magazine empty, that means you went out fighting. You went out fighting to the last bullet. You're too afraid to get your Jordans dirty. And you're such idiots. I'm speaking to you, Black men. You're so idiotic that you write me and you talk about, well, why is he dating a white girl? Does he make 6 figures? You talk about irrelevant crap. Yet we don't address the 20 million aborted babies since 1973. Planned Parenthood is nothing more than a white supremacist institution designed to kill Black babies. You don't want to address that, but you go around calling out brothers dating white girls and Latinas and Asians or whatever. You freaking fool. You're disgusting. Then you have these so-called Black militia, the Black Panthers, the Nation of Islam. And I keep telling people, they don't listen. And I'm not scared of the Nation of Islam. That those groups are a freaking joke. All of them. Every time some Black man is shot or killed by the police, you'll see Black people taking photos with their weapons saying, yeah, you come after me, man. You come after me. See the Black Panther Party marching down the street with weapons and protests. Nation of Islam, the FOI, and their ties and suits. Why don't you carry your ass down to George Zimmerman and address him? He's not hiding. Carry your ass to all the police who shot our kids, our young brothers down. Why are you taking a photo halfway around the world? Go to where the atrocity was committed and address it. Don't send me no damn photo. But you're scared. You're scared. You're a punk. You criticize me for being light-skinned. You know, Black men, why the world doesn't respect you? Because you don't do anything to deserve respect. You haven't even done a ritual to address Carolyn, Bryant, or George Zimmerman. Because a good ritual with enough Black men behind it would have taken care of Carolyn Bryant and George Zimmerman. But you don't believe in magic. You're pathetic. And I'm sorry if you don't like this message. You can kiss my butt. I broke my ribs in my military training. I broke my wrists, but I kept going. I finished the mission. And even though my commanding officers were racist as hell, they complimented me on what I did. I stood up and took the punishment. I finished the message. There were landmines everywhere. You stepped on one, boom, you were gone. I went through those woods. I was Haruka Huti. And now we're faced with these white supremacists making videos, laughing at Black people, telling us we race swapped. Because Netflix made a documentary about Black Cleopatra. I did a video 2 years ago and I told you she was Black. I told you she was Black because I did the research. And part of doing that research, I discovered the BBC did a documentary called Cleopatra, Portrait of a Serial Killer, where they were studying and doing DNA testing of the remains of Cleopatra's sister and determined that she was a Black woman. And now when the criticism comes out from all these white supremacists, hating on Cleopatra, hating that we made her Black. I'm like, we ain't make her Black. She's always been Black. The Egyptians has always been Black. Do Black people stand up and say anything? No. No, not a freaking peep. Now, Cleopatra was not a good person. She was a psychopath, a serial killer, and a traitor. But she still was Black. Many people say, well, the reason that we ain't fighting for her because, she did some very, very bad things. Egypt fell under her. I understand that. But you give those white supremacists an inch, they take a foot. Look at this. Look at this. Director of Netflix series starring a Black Cleopatra fires back at Egyptian backlash. And those dumb, idiot Egyptians, they're also the ones that canceled Kevin Hart's comedy tour there because he talked about Black people being kings and queens in Egypt in antiquity. In protest, they canceled him. That's fine. We should have canceled Egypt. We should have said no more tours. No more tours. Black people are not going to tour the pyramids anymore. We're not going to give you any money for any tours. We're not going to support you by showing any of our movies. Spike Lee, Anton Fuqua, Jordan Peele? We boycott Egypt. If Kevin Hart can't perform because you don't like the fact that he brought the truth up, that we were kings and queens, and take note, Egyptians, you were not there. You were not the original Egyptians. You were migrants. Egypt is in Africa, Northeast Africa. It's ours. It's our legacy. Cleopatra belongs to us. We ain't blackwashing anything. She was always Black. I'm going to social media and I'm seeing all this backlash. Where's the backlash? They dress white people up and had makeup on their eyes to make them look like Chinese. Same thing with the Native Americans. They put dark skin makeup on white people to pretend like they were Indian. And they practically vilified the Native Americans, people who were only defending their land, because white people were the invaders. And now, you see, the reason why Netflix is doing this is because Netflix knows the truth. The evidence is there. Cleopatra's mother was Black. She taught Cleopatra how to speak Egyptian. Now, again, Cleopatra was a sick, psychopathic woman. But the reason they focus on her is because they don't want to show you the other Black queens of Egypt, like Queen T, Hatshepsut, who did greater things than Cleopatra. Under Hatshepsut, she pretended to be a male and ruled Egypt. And during her rule, Egypt prospered militarily, economically, religiously. She fought wars. She led the wars and led the wars to victory. Why didn't they talk about Hatshepsut? You see, when the people are sick themselves, because white supremacy is a mental illness, they celebrate other sick individuals like Cleopatra. That's why they want Cleopatra so bad, because she was a sick person. But we still must fight to keep what is ours. But do we? I'm going on social media and I'm seeing all of these white supremacists saying these negative things about us. And we're saying nothing back. We're doing nothing back. Oh, we're commenting on hip hop, which we want to call Black culture. That's not Black culture. Hip hop is not Black culture. Black culture is Egypt, Kemet. Yes, that's fasting is life. That is 100% correct. We have no warrior spirit. We have become cowards. We're lazy. We're easily distracted and bored. You know what we'll do? We'll go to church on Sunday and give all our money to a minister who will live in 2 vacation homes and have a private jet. But when they talk about how Cleopatra is not Black and how Black people are trying to steal, are trying to steal their culture. We're not trying to steal their culture. They have stolen our culture. And yet we're not standing up and saying anything. I go on social media and all I see are videos, dogging out each other. Black men talking about Black women only want a 6-figure man or a high-value man. All these relationship videos, there's too much. There's nothing that's proactive. We are not actively participating in our own liberation and freedom. We have lost the way. We should have galvanized a team of social media people and started to what do you call that? When you go to those white supremacist videos and tag them and report them. We should have come together as a collective to do that when they encroach upon our religion, our history. But no, we don't do that. We don't do that. Black man, you are weak. Black man, you are a very weak man. And you're weak because Black women, women who are the first translators, or I should say, the first ones to instill culture. Black women, you have failed as mothers because you should have been raising warriors. You should have been carrying on the Kemetic spiritual traditions. You should have taught your children, especially your boys, the gods. You know what the situation is with Black men now? Black men are falling behind in terms of reading. By 8th grade, they can't read at grade level. That's a national crisis. How do you not read at grade level? When I was in college, we had to go to this weird thing when we were doing research. We had to go to this weird thing, a weird institution called a library. We never had the internet. If I had the internet, my papers to my professor would have been excellent. But they I had to do the research in the library. This new generation has been afforded all of these opportunities with the internet, with AI, ChatGPT, and you still can't read at grade level. You're still failing in math and science. So I say to you, Black women, how do you allow this? How do you allow your sons to fall behind and your daughters to excel? There's a problem with that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me reiterate this point. We are at war. They do not want us here in the next 50 years. They do not want our genes here. They do not want our children here in the next 15 years. So they're doing everything they can to eliminate us, rewriting history, creating these viruses, everything they can to get rid of us. And all you are doing is listening to rap and hip hop, calling it Black culture. Going out and getting your Beyonce tickets. Black women try to be bosses, boss bitches, and you're delusional. You're delusional. So I wanted to make this video because I'm disappointed. And I'm not allowing myself to get angry because I was very, very angry earlier. And I said, I'm not going to allow myself to get angry. I'm going to try and deliver just a message in hopes that you'll understand and overstand and understand and understand and take action. We are doing nothing but acting like observers. Your children are being murdered by white supremacists, and all you're doing is saying, I forgive, or trying to petition a system that has a history of white supremacy, has a history of not advocating for your rights, going to them thinking that they will correct the wrong that they have done. They won't. They won't. They won't. They're not going to. That's not on the agenda. And they're not going to give you reparations because reparations would in part go to wellness centers, mental health therapy, and they don't want you balanced. They don't want you sane. They want you to be insane and crazy. so you can kill one another, so you can destroy one another. They've got you on remote control. They know your triggers. You know, I walk down my block, and sometimes even when I walk in the hallway and I smell weed, I know what's going on. You see, that's making you passive. It's making you passive, lackadaisical. Stop doing that. Stop drinking alcohol. Stop smoking. Become the warrior you were meant to be. If you like this program, please donate to the channel. Show that you're more than talk. Donate to the channel. Get involved in your community. Do something. Do something. Because if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. Or if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. This is Qesankh Ma Kaparu, son of Ma'an Tahuti. Ma'an is the beautiful goddess Hilaru. Until my next video, I'm in Ra.